Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel, or should I say, Cobra la 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 la. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I think people have kind of come around on Cobra La a little bit, or some people have. Anyway, Serpentor, a new version of Serpentor based on the Sunbow cartoon, which is what I loved. It's what I grew up with. Now, I grew up reading the comic book as well, but there is just no way around the fact that the comic book was not as present and in your face as the cartoon was. So while at, the age of 48, I love them both equally for completely different reasons. When I was a kid, if you had asked me, the cartoon was the thing. So here we have Serpentor as he appeared in the Sunbow cartoon. I'm delighted to see it because it's just knowing that Super 7 is going to tackle all eras of Sunbow and not just like Mass Device, because this to me is a statement right out of the gate that, like, look guys, I know with the Ultimates we did a few fun things here and there, but we kind of stuck with the very first miniseries. Here they're saying right up front, look, here's Serpentor. We're covering more than just the earliest Sunbow stuff, and I appreciate that statement. Love this card art. This is a I like that they felt the need to work the knife in, because it's such a thing that is not critical at all to Sunbow Serpentor. As a matter of fact, he almost should have come with one of his snakes as a spear, but whatever. It's fine. I just like this art because it looks right to me. On the back, as I learned from the Duke review, these file cards are new, making them a very interesting entry into the lore of G.I. Joe. Now, obviously, they're going to line up with that Sunbow version of the character, but I think we're going to have to talk about these more on Audible Interlude and kind of break these down a little bit. We may take a break. We do a segment called Rank and File Card, and we went all the way back to 1982 and have been reviewing all of the file cards with help from my dad, who's a retired lieutenant colonel. He's given his input on all of the file cards. We're up to 1984 now. But we may take a little side trek to talk about these ReAction Plus file cards, or maybe do like a bonus extra segment or something like that. I don't know, but I want to talk to the guys about these, because I think it's really fun that they're new, that they didn't just cut and paste Larry Hama's work, which they very easily could have done, but it would not have been accurate to Sunbow versions of the characters. And again, that's the stuff Super 7 does that makes me love them. I will be, however many little issues there might be with their figures, I'm going to be a Super 7 fan till the day I die. Because the way that their brains work with relation to all of this, presentation, selection, everything, just lines up with what I enjoy so much. Oh, I missed this on the Duke review. Just like the old figures, I love that they have the accessories. This is it's small and maybe insignificant, but it means so much to me because I loved looking at the old figures and seeing what the stuff that they came with was called. Now, obviously in Serpentor's case, flexible cape, removable hood, and dagger, I don't really need those names, but a lot of times with the weapons and things, all the different blasters or whatever, and different pieces of gear that maybe you didn't know exactly what they were, it was so important to have those definitions right here beside the blister. Serpentor Cobra Emperor. Let's open him up. I'm interested to see how this cape is going to feel, because I don't initially love the look of it. It looks like sort of cheapo fabric, so I'm curious to see what it actually is, because I don't believe that. I'm trying to think what I could draw a parallel to so you'd know what kind of fabric I'm thinking this looks like cheap ribbon type fabric that comes on super cheap toys. All right. Already it's apparent that it's more, yeah, this is something a little different. Well, and look, I'm not going to lie, it does sort of have that feel, but you can tell it's more resilient than that. And it has, one side is glossy, one side is matte. So it is nicer than the sort of ribbony type stuff I was thinking of. This is, and this may be a controversial take, but I'm no stranger to those here. I think this is the best Serpentor portrait we've gotten. The fangs line up with his face properly. He looks angry. Now, I would have liked a yelling face. I'm not going to lie. But he looks right to me proportionally. Even the original figure, the fangs are too nubby and don't look right. The classified figure, the fangs are right in front of his eyes, which drives me insane. This, I think, is the most successful Serpentor portrait we've seen. Let's get that cape off and take a look at all the details. Oh, wow. I love how the sculpt... Oh, are the snakes part of his hood? Interesting. Okay, well, first let's mess around with... all the articulation seems to be working nicely. It's wild to me how thin the swivels are, how thin that plastic is. You can see that's just very, very narrow right there. You'd think it would be further up the bicep, but I think they're wanting to preserve the angle of that bicep and not have any more, because you can see a little bit here where this doesn't line up when you turn it, but if it was on the bicep, it would be much worse. I've seen comment online about his skinny little arms, and yeah, they're a little skinny, but also it doesn't bother me. He can't sit down all the way. Well, but if you do that, that kind of fixes it, huh? But Serpentor, until we get a throne, which Super 7, if you want to provide a throne for this Serpentor, I'm down with that. That actually works okay. I love the detailing. Look at this. His knee pads are actually a different color of green from the surrounding parts. Same thing up here with his gauntlets. You've got a lighter green and a darker green. A little detailing of the fangs on his snake attack gauntlet, I guess. How was that never made into a thing? Whatever all this business is, just really sharp, nice detailing on these ReAction Plus figures. Well, on everything that Super 7 has done. See how easy it is to pop that off. Okay, cool. So he still looks cool without that because they figured out a way to sculpt these so they just kind of look like the snake heads aren't on there, but they don't look weird now. It still looks like a thing. And then the hood, I love the first thing. Oh, wait, let's check his head. Okay, his head rotates. If you watched my review of Duke yesterday, I had to take the figure apart and kind of mess with his neck a little bit to get his head to rotate. But then it worked fine once I put it back together. Man, I love how flush that is. Look, like it really looks nice. It doesn't stick out a ton. But the first thing I noticed about this figure when I was looking at pictures online, and as I've mentioned many times here, I don't look super close at things I know I'm going to buy because I want this discovery process. But the fact that those snake heads are like raised, because if you watch the cartoon, these things are like moving around while he's talking in his scenes and stuff. So the fact that they're raised here is awesome. Everything feels good. His O-ring feels like it's the right size. It's not forcing a tilt in the way that Cobra Commander in the first wave was. And the plastic feels great. I don't know that I need to mention that for every one of these reviews. I don't think I said anything about it yesterday with Duke, but the plastic is very sturdy. Feels good. There is the cape. As I said, it's glossy or shiny on one side and matte on the inside, which I like. I'm always a fan, however it's accomplished, I'm always a fan of action figures that have capes that are different on the inside than they are on the outside. It just adds a little, even when it's something subtle like that, like a difference in the gloss, it just adds something to the look to me. Goes just above the ankles, looks like the right height to me. And I'm glad they went with this rather than molded plastic, because you'd be so limited with however they sculpt a molded plastic one. And then finally, we've got the dagger, which, as I said, I don't specifically remember him having a dagger like this in the cartoon. It's an interesting choice for an accessory. Look how great that blade looks, though. Looks like metal. Very nicely detailed piece. I do wish there was some kind of storage for it, like maybe... No, because that would just mess up the figure. It wouldn't look right. So chances are I'm not going to display him with the dagger. Fits right in his hand, looks good. You can kind of get that pose. Oh, maybe that's how he's going on the shelf. Yeah, I don't want any raised arm poses right now. Now is not the time for that. I don't know. We'll see. But looks great. I like the goldishness of the plastic. I'll have to take a look. I believe his arms not having scales is correct to Sunbow. And I should have looked at that before I sat down to do the review, but I was really just kind of thinking about it. Awesome. I'm excited. I finally got all 4 figures that I can open and review. So there he is. There is Sunbow Serpentor from Super 7's ReAction Plus. Again, the silver rivets, not a fan, but they're also not ruining these figures for me, so I'm good. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share. Check out Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast, wherever you get your podcast. And until next time, buy what you like.
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.